Hey folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. Hope everyone's doing well. It is Wednesday, September the 10th. There was no video uploaded yesterday because I was flying to Edmonton and back. Something like, I don't know, best part of a 2,500 mile round trip. Because of course it would be way too much to ask the airlines to do direct flights. I had to fly via a certain hub. Anyways, all's good, and I'm back to normal, I suppose. A small apology is needed. Julian McGowan, Coach's Corner, and I have tried twice to connect, and I'm not sure where the technical problem is, but we can get decent video, but the audio sucks. So there isn't an interaction, Coach's Corner. Julian's going to try and do a short video for me, which I will upload to the channel. So for those of you who've been waiting for Coach's Corner, I beg your forbearance and thank you for your patience. And we will, between the two of us, try to figure something out. The subject of today's video is it's one that I've to be fair, I've held off making, probably because of my own personal biases. And that's the discussion of what the heck is happening with respect to Olexander Usyk. Now, I am, of course, Team Usyk all the way. I'm a massive Usyk fan. And I've sort of tried to be, if you like, Nelsonian blind to what's going on with Olexander Usyk. If I'm honest, I have to be as critical of fighters I like, as critical as I am of fighters I'm not so fond of. And so, hence, I really have to ask, Olexander, what's going on? By this I mean, Olexander Usyk was, if you like, scheduled to defend his WBO title next. And you know how it works with the alphabet groups. Each alphabet group, body rather, takes it in turn to put forward their mandatory. And so the turn happened to be the WBO. Now, I know some people say, oh, we don't want to see Usyk fight Parker. I don't care who the mandatory is. It's just the WBO was next up to bat. And people have said on this channel in the comment section, oh, Parker would be boring. And then other people said, absolutely, it's Parker's turn. It's Parker's turn. And I think what we should do is take the name away from the WBO mandatory and just say, it's the WBO's turn. Well, as we know, nothing happened with respect to any fight negotiations or anything like that after Usyk saw off Daniel Dubois. He was very lukewarm about Parker, and Turki Al-Sheikh was absolutely not in favor of the Parker fight. And so where we are now is that Parker has decided, well, I need to fight. You can train all you like, but nothing is beating fighting. So he's actually taking on Fabio Wardley. Credit to both him and Wardley. But Olexander Usyk said he was injured. Now, fair enough. If he was injured, he's injured, right? But then he put up a video of him dancing and also playing soccer, playing football, depending on which side of the Atlantic you are, right? And the WBO looked a little bit askance at that, as did many fans worldwide. Like, okay, there is a difference. I totally get it. Like, in order to do a little bit of dancing or kicking a football around, that's different than stepping into the ring. Usyk has said he's got a back injury. Maybe he wasn't dancing or playing soccer at his full potential. But the WBO asked him to clarify. And apparently there have been doctors who have presented something to the WBO to say, look, well, he is injured. So the WBO have granted Usyk another 90-day extension. But of course, with Parker now fighting Wardley, who knows what's going to happen with this, right? Like if Parker gets through Wardley, which most people think he will, though Fabio Wardley does have a big equalizer, as Justice Hooney found out, a fight wouldn't occur until what? What do you think? March, April? And so is Olexander Usyk holding the WBO belt to ransom? Is he holding up the belt? Should he be forced to surrender the belt? Should he be forced to, well, maybe should he be stripped? And I have to ask myself this question because, of course, like I say, I'm Team Usyk. I think, Alexander Usyk is, great. But if it was somebody else, would I be saying the same thing? Or would I be saying, strip him? He's ducking. He's avoiding. He's holding the belts to ransom. I think I got to call it as I see it in order to have, to be fair, right? And if Alexander Usyk does not want to fight to defend his WBO, like I say, take Parker's name out of it. If he doesn't want to defend his WBO, then maybe the WBO should say, fair enough, you've been a great champion, give us our belt back, or we'll take it back, and then we'll let somebody else fight for the WBO title. What do you think? Do you think that Alexander Usyk is being fair? Do you think Alexander Usyk deserves a break? I don't mean a vacation break, but do you think we should be, because he's Alexander Usyk, because he's the undisputed champion of the world, because he's beaten Fury twice, Joshua twice, Dubois twice, do you think we should cut him more slack than we are? There's a lot of people who think we should. And I guess then there's people who say, rules are rules. But where do you all stand on this? It's a tough one, right? For example, when Tyson Fury held up the belts, I was very, very critical of him. Mind, to be fair, Tyson Fury was, kicking the ass out of it. Whereas Usyk maybe hasn't yet kicked the ass out of this. But it's beginning to look like you should possibly consider surrendering the belt if you're Alexander Usyk. I mean, he's talking now also of maybe doing something MMA-ish with people like Jake Paul. And of course, Turki Al-Sheikh would like to see Tyson Fury back in the ring, Usyk Fury 3. I have to tell you that, for me, sure, I'll watch it. I would be lying to you if I said I didn't want to watch it. Of course I'll watch it, but it's not the fight that I want. What I want is for the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world to fight new challengers. And it happens to be Parker's turn. So I would say, fight Parker. I would expect him to beat Parker. But maybe there isn't the money in it. And if it's all about the money, well, then I have much less sympathy, right? I mean, I'd also like to see Ajit Kabayel have a chance at Usyk. I think Kabayel would actually have the best chance, to be perfectly honest. But that's just me, right? You might say, I'm talking out of my rear end. Fair enough. It's just my view, just my opinion. But, I'm really interested in the history of all this and how legacies look. And so if Usyk goes and beats Fury again, that doesn't tell me anything. But to go and beat Parker, who's a different type of fighter, to beat Kabayel, who's different, to beat Itoma, how does that look? So, on the subject of Parker, before I leave, I read somewhere, or maybe I saw a video, that Parker put a very nice offer towards Daniel Dubois to see if Dubois would fight. But Dubois was like, no, not yet. So, you know, we've said in the past that Dubois ducked Parker over that bogus, or maybe it wasn't bogus, whatever, that illness that he had in Riyadh. I mean, I thought Dubois would have beaten Parker, but maybe Dubois is gun shy of Parker. And certainly now, having coming off a loss, I mean, Parker would be much more enthusiastic, I suppose, and Dubois might be a bit sheepish now. As Lennox Lewis said, getting knocked out can sort of make you a bit gun shy. But then again, was Dubois knocked out, or did he just sit on his bum until the count reached 10 and then he got up and walked off? Who knows? Interesting, eh? Anyways, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time as always. If you can, give me a like. And if you are watching this and you haven't yet subscribed, if you would subscribe, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate that very much. Most importantly, have a fabulous week. And let's see how Canelo and Crawford goes on Saturday. Together, of course, with Lewis Crocker and Paddy Donovan. Another fight that I'm very excited to watch. Anyways, have a fabulous day wherever you are in the world, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.